women friends to upload all their pictures on a site that was quickly put together called Hot or Not. The business model was women put up their pictures, men rate them. It started off with women putting up their pictures, now actually it is women and men. So if it is men putting up their pictures, women rate them, right? Site, they had put it on Stanford server. The first day 40,000 pictures got uploaded and the server crashed. It's one of the most successful business models. In less than 6 months they sold the company at $20 million. Okay, even to this day, it's a very interesting site. So the business model is interesting. If you just want to rate, you don't have to pay. But if you say, okay, I've rated her 9 on 10, but that is not enough, I want to, invite her for a date, then you pay for it. Okay, that's the business model that they use. Now, where did they get this idea from? Their pleasure point. That was quick. It could also be contextual, situational. I don't know how many of you have seen this site called mybo.com, mybarackobama.com. You guys should see this site. Not this round of campaign, the previous round when Obama, contested the elections. Do you remember what his campaign line was? Not this round, the previous round. What changed? You're absolutely on track. What changed? But there was a catchy phrase he used. Yes, you can. Right. Why was he saying that? Because people were frustrated, people were asking for change, people were asking, really, can we make the change? And he said, yes, we can. Of course we can change. Right? So that became a very catchy campaign line for him. So, why was he promising change? What was the context of promising change? What were people fed up with? And? Unemployment and? And? Corruption. A lot of it was partisanship, corruption, because when you raise money for your election campaign, let's say there are 10 guys giving $1 million check, will they give the check just like that? They have an agenda when they give you a check like that, right? Either they want a bill passed or they want a bill stopped. So things can never change as long as money is fueling these decisions, right? So one of the things he did, he hired a guy called Chris Hughes. Chris Hughes was a co-founder of Facebook. Hired a guy called Chris Hughes to develop a portal called mybo.com, mybarackobama.com, where online anybody could contribute as low as $25. Now when you are contributing $25, can you force a decision on the government? You can't, right? They raised, in American history, the campaign raised the maximum amount of funds. Because they went this retail route of raising as low as $25. There were people who paid as low as $25. He said, whatever you can contribute to the campaign is fine. As long as you bring this government in, yes, we can make the change. Right? So this campaign would have been possible during Kennedy's time? Why not? Because there was no internet during Kennedy's time. There was no social media during Kennedy's time, right? So an idea like this was completely situational, contextual. So you could get ideas based on your current situation, the way things are around you. How do people build around business ideas? Typically what happens? You have an idea in your head, what do you do next? Let's say you have an idea for a product like this, a slide changer. What do you do next? You do a market survey, find out if people are interested in buying a product like this, then what do you do? fix the price point, then what do you do? Okay, you put together money, you went to your father, you asked him and he gave you money because he wanted to get rid of you, so you raised money. Then what? What's the next step?
Marketing the product.
Where you went to marketing the product? Build the product. To build the product, what do you need? Thank you. Processes and all come later. You need people first, no? You need a team to build the product, no first? Thank you. First you need people. So you need teams to build the product. Teams will put processes in place, right? And then marketing will happen when the product is ready. But before all that, you need people. You've heard of a company called HP? Yes. What does HP stand for? Hewlett Packard? Yeah? Hewlett. Bill Hewlett was the gentleman's name, was a farmer. He was not an educated guy, he had no MBA from a fancy school, nothing whatsoever, right? He was a farmer. And if you see his obituary picture, it's very interesting. He's wearing farmer clothes sitting on a tractor. When he died, that was his obituary. Because that's essentially what he was. He had, for somebody who was not educated, he had a very radical idea about building businesses. He said, most people have an idea first, then they bring people to build the idea, and then they build the organization. Suppose you did it the other way. Suppose you looked around for good people, put them together. Good people with great ideas build great products. Great products make fantastic organizations. Very radical, different kind of a thinking, and as you can see, it's not that right from day one they were successful. I think they tried every single electronic product before they actually arrived on the computer. They've tried just about cash registers, calculators, electronic components, you name it, HP tried everything before they finally arrived at the computers. Which is the world's first browser? Netscape? No. Before Netscape there was something else. Who built Netscape? No. What was the guy's name, I'm asking? No. Mark Andreessen. His name was Mark Andreessen. He worked for Stanford Labs. Accidentally, he designed a browser called Mosaic. And when it went to market, Stanford Labs did not give him credit. He was pissed off with Stanford Labs because they took all the credit and they didn't give him anything at all. So he was very upset and he put in his papers and walked out. In another place, there was a company called SGI. Do you know what SGI is? Silicon Graphics. What is Silicon Graphics' product? What is its claim to fame? You've all seen that movie. Jurassic Park. SGI designed all the SGI workstations were what designed all the VFX and animation and everything. And Jurassic Park, as you know, was a milestone in VFX history, right? The first ever that kind of a canvas that was used in Hollywood, right? The owner of SGI was a gentleman called James Clark. James Clark, once upon a time, used to own 100% of his company. Over a period of time, every time he needed money, he started divesting his stake. So at one point, he owned about 18% of the company. One day when he went to work, the security guard told him, you don't have to come from tomorrow because the investor has asked you to stay out of the business. So he was another very upset person. Now you have two upset people. You have Mark Andreessen and you have James Clark. The two of them got together and what did they create? They created Netscape, which pretty much decimated the earlier Mosaic browser. That was their revenge against Stanford Labs. They wanted to create a browser which was so successful, Mosaic would not be remembered. And as I can see from this room, none of you has even heard of Mosaic, right? That's how effective they were. So two good people getting together, two brains coming up with ideas, whatever their reason. Here the reason was revenge. Here the reason was unhappiness. Both were pissed off with their respective companies, okay? But they came together, net was a brilliant product. You all use Ariel, right? Ariel detergent?
Yes.
Is it successful?
Reasonably.
What is reasonably, yes or no?
It was nowhere earlier, now it's sitting here and we see the shops.
Okay, and who makes it?
Prof.Nandini.
P&G makes Ariel. Ariel is the world's most successful detergent brand. No other brand comes anywhere close to it in terms of its volume sales. It is interesting because Ariel is the most expensive detergent. If you compare it with other detergent products, it is the most expensive detergent. So their communication always was that if you are using 3 spoonfuls of other detergents, you need to use only a pinch of Ariel to get the same effect, to get the same hygiene and cleanliness. That is what their communication used to be, meaning to say, although upfront you pay more for Ariel, because usage is less, you will ultimately save more money than by using other detergents. They entered Mexico and pretty much they used the same communication, but it didn't work. The product just did not work there. So P&G went around trying to find out why isn't it working here. Their brand managers went to people, local people, and asked the women, saying, why aren't you buying? It's a brilliant product. You know, and the strange thing was the women said, see, in Mexico we don't have too much money. The GDP is not all that great, right? So we can't have an extensive wardrobe. Each of us maybe has 2 or 3 pairs of clothes. It's very important in Mexican society to be very clean looking. Those clothes, even though we don't have variety, they should look clean, nicely ironed, all of that. If it doesn't reflect on the man, it reflects on the woman. A woman's status in society is determined by how well clothed her family is. So she said, I can't afford to take a chance with you. You're an unknown quantity. I've never tried Ariel and I cannot afford to take a chance. Right? At that point in time, P&G introduced, you guys can check out, it's a brilliant site called connectanddevelop.com. Okay? Brilliant idea. What they said, what they told their brand managers was, it doesn't matter if the product is successful in one market. Don't go with that assumption to another market. Before the brand is launched in a new market, spend 6 months with the local people and understand the culture. Only then tailor make the communication keeping in mind what the local culture is. Brilliant strategy. Many products were launched there. See, it's the typical American arrogance otherwise. If it works in America, it should work in any other part of the world. You know. For the first time, a company like P&G had to actually eat a humble pie and said, okay, local cultures are very important. Therefore, before we launch a brand, we must understand the local culture. So the idea came from where? From their failure. From their own failure, a new idea came, and it's a brilliant strategy today. Have you heard of a gentleman called Edwin Land? You all used his product. You don't anymore. Land. Polaroid, absolutely. You know how Polaroid was invented? Edwin Land was a divorcee, had a 5-year-old daughter. he used to get custody of his daughter only on weekends. So every weekend he would pick her up and take her, drive her to the mountains, and he would click pictures of the two of them. And every time she would say, I want to see the picture now. And he would say, no baby, you can't see the picture now. Because those days, if you remember, we had something called a photographic film, right? So the film has to be exhausted. It was a 36 exposure film. It has to be exhausted. It has to be then given for developing and printing. Only after that you can see it. And she kept saying, why can't I see it now? That gave him an idea. Why can't somebody see the picture instantly? From that point in time, it took him 25 years to develop the Polaroid. And from Polaroid to Digicam, it took just 2 years. That was the kind of a technology crunch that happened. But from a photographic film to Polaroid, 25 years. From Polaroid to Digicam, just 2 years. Where did the idea come from? Daughter gave the idea, no? All daughters give good ideas only. You've heard of a bank called ING Direct? Yeah? What is ING Direct? गोवा में पढ़ते नहीं है क्या? Of that's too generic an answer. What is it? What is ING Direct? If you mean, is it like Western Union? No. The answer is no. No. It's the world's only virtual bank. And they get 100 million customers every day. Why did somebody set up a virtual bank? Because there was this gentleman called Arkady Kuhlmann who used to work for a Dutch bank, and he hated all bankers and all banks because he said they are crooks. Even when they issue a checkbook to you, they charge you, right? Everything in a bank is charged, and customer doesn't even realize it because it's debited from the account. Right? So he said all banks and all bankers are crooks. I'm going to start a bank which will be very transparent and which will have such low costs that it does not need to charge the customers, which is the reason he went the virtual route. Like I said, they are the world's largest. They don't have a single bank infrastructure. They don't have a single branch. They operate online completely, and like I said, they get 100 million customers every day. It's one of the most successful concepts of virtual banking. Where did he get the idea from? From his own belief system that all bankers and banks are crooks. He called them highway robbers, by the way. What is serendipity? You start to discover something, like Columbus sailed to discover India, and in the process he sailed, he discovered America, right? So serendipitously, accidentally, you set out to discover something else, but you end up discovering something else. What are these products? This is microwave? I don't know, I'm asking this picture. Lego blocks? Who uses Lego blocks? Children? You'd be surprised to learn 60% of Lego's customers are adults. There is a very active adult community called lugnet.com. In fact, AFOL is that. Adult fans of Lego is what AFOL stands for. Lugnet.com, check out the site. You'll be very impressed with some of the comments there. LegoUserGroup.com, lugnet.com, right? 60% of Lego products are used by adults. And hold your breath, 95% of Lego blocks are designed by customers. Lego does not even have a product development team. Customers are so evangelical about Lego that they have designed most of the Lego products because they are using, right? So when you design a product and when the product is marketed, will you buy? 100% you will buy, no? Will you only buy or will you tell the whole world and its mother about it? You will tell the whole world saying, you know what, I designed it. Right? That's how Lego has been successful, brilliantly successful up until now. So where did they get this idea from that customers can develop my product? Serendipity. I don't think they ever set out saying, you know, customer is going to design my product. I don't think they ever set out saying an adult will be my user. An adult will be my customer. An adult may be my purchaser. That is, he is the one who pays the money. But the user necessarily they thought would be kids. And 60% of users turned out to be adults. So this